Greetings and welcome to the Being Your Own CEO Success Circle. I usually start by saying good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever applies to you. So, we are here to participate in, I think, sort of a pre-run for Fred Jones, who is lined up to do a major presentation. And he wanted an opportunity to do a dry run, and we wanted an opportunity to hear what he was going to do. So that's where we are this morning. So, shall we begin by doing some introductions, however? So, David, how would you like to begin?
Hello, I'm Dave Flannery. I am presiding in Rock Falls, Illinois. I have moved off the island in Sterling, Illinois, as Fred remembers, and am done fishing. Um, we are streaming and both in YouTube and on the website, and we have no one in chat as of this moment. So
Hmm,
back to you, LowellAnn.
right on. Thank you. And Vivek, would you like to do the same?
Namaste. My name is Vivekanand. Literally, it means wisdom and happiness. I am proud to share my belief with Steve Jobs and Leonardo da Vinci, who said simplicity is the ultimate in sophistication. I aim to bring time tested wisdom and happiness together into your business and life by unifying, amplifying simple technology and tools. Wake Technology is my company. Together, let us wake up our potential. I am in Reading, UK, England. Um, the weather has been really good. It's been quite warm, although it has been punctuated with rain, quite a lot of it, often. But yeah, it I would say it helps to keep my car clean when it rains like that.
Right on. David, you're waving.
Yes, Javita has joined us in chat. She says, hello, everyone. Looking forward to Fred's presentation. With us.
Oh, good morning, Javita. Welcome here. And I might just say Javita is joining us from Mumbai, India. So I might just do a little bit of an introduction this morning. I'm LowellAnn Fuglsang. I am focused on providing business coaching for solopreneurs. And one of the things I've noticed about solopreneurs is that they work by themselves and they really, really need some company. They need the company of people to hear what they're saying and to give them feedback and to run ideas by, etc. And so that's one of the reasons why I'm hosting this Being Your Own CEO. We've been on the go now for, I don't know, I think it's over 10 years. And if anybody who's listening to this knows of a solopreneur who could use the company and the support, suggest to them that they join the Being Your Own CEO Success Circle. And I'm doing this from Victoria, British Columbia, Canada. And we could sure use the punctuation that you talked about, Vivek. We did get one sort of few hours of rain this week. But in British Columbia, this time of year, we desperately need rain. So it never fails. It seems to be worse this year because of the heat waves that are happening. But um, unlike everywhere else, in the month of August in Victoria, where I am, the lawns, unless they're being watered constantly, everything has turned brown. And all winter, everything is beautiful and green here because we get lots of rain in the winter. So we are just quite opposite. So it's part of the reason I live here. I see there comes Alana. So Fred, I don't know if you would like to introduce yourself or whether you wanted to put that in together with your presentation. What's your pleasure?
I'll introduce myself.
Okay, go ahead.
I'm Fred Jones, who's the creator of Our Future Leaders, where we work with young people to help them gain communication and leadership skills and to become the leaders that our world needs. And part of that is I work with Agora Speakers International, and I'm the ambassador for their youth program, but also the ambassador for Canada. And the presentation that I will be giving shortly is for their conference, which happens in just over a week's time. And so this is aimed at the people around the world with Agora Speakers International. Now, I'm also on Vancouver Island. I'm in Langford. I moved again because I'm looking after another dog. Compared to the last week, I was looking after Baba. Now I'm looking after Rupert. And
we've heard of Rupert before.
Yeah. Rupert's changed a lot in the last year and a half. He's been through the wars. He's 14 years old, and he's not as vibrant as he used to be, but he's still Rupert. So he's still a character. But I notice a difference in him. So aging catches up to all of us, including Rupert. Mm-hmm. So yesterday I was at the call center again, helping evacuees from all the forest fires, which are happening. We have over a couple hundred and thousands of people not able to get back into their houses because of the forest fires. So it's a pretty sad situation when you're not able, you have to leave your home and get out. So we try and help as many people as we can, and we get phone calls from them. So that's what I was doing yesterday.
Well, and Fred, I mean, it's not only the inconvenience of having to get out, but then when you get out, when you don't know whether you've got anything to go back to.
Yeah.
I mean, it must be the most stressful thing for those people.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay, thank you, Fred, and thank you for doing that wonderful volunteer work that you're doing. Really, it really means a lot. Alana, how are things in Ireland?
I just about made it. I had an appliance delivered a few minutes ago. The guy just left. So, yeah, I got a last minute call. So, yeah. Anyway, I'm Alana. I'm in Ireland. My company is ALB Digital Marketing Solutions, where I write copy, blog posts, social media, and I help businesses increase sales and conversions.
Which is what we all want and need to do. Talk about speaking to the needs and wants of our audience. That's you're following the good instructions. So I think the last time you said it started to cool off in Ireland.
It is. It's cooling off a tiny bit, but you can definitely feel like a bit of a change in the weather here. I think other people would disagree with me, but I mean, it's still warm, but I don't know that it's beach weather anymore. So at least it's not as hot as it had been. So I'm happy about that. I never thought I'd say that, but yeah.
And when you use the term beach weather, it raises in my mind my friend and walking partner. I would use that term as well, beach weather, and for her, beach weather is all year.
Wow. Okay. Well, I don't know about, beach to me, when I say beach weather, I mean, it's like going to the beach and going swimming. Yes. So, I would not swim at the beach all year round.
But that's what she means by it.
Yeah, no, she's braver than me. Yeah, I'm not a polar swimmer. I don't do that. You know, what is it on the New Year here? Everybody jumps in the water and no, I'm not one of them. No. In fact, when I go to the States in October, hopefully in October,
Oh,
I'm meeting some friends. We go away for a couple of days and we go to Cape Cod. And there's a couple of friends of mine that always go swimming in the in the Atlantic, and I'm like, I'm just not there. No, I'll watch from the beach. I'll hold the towel for you.
yeah. So I've been to Cape Cod. It's really beautiful there.
Yeah, it's gorgeous.
So and I might mention that on my upcoming trip, we're going to be probably swimming not quite the Atlantic, in the Northumberland Strait, which is in between Prince Edward Island and New Brunswick.
Ooh,
So
exciting.
yeah. So even though we're going to be going at the last 2 weeks of September, Robin says, I'm taking my bathing suit. So
I hope it's a thermal one.
oh dear. Although the water temperature in that particular place is about the same as South Carolina and Florida water temperature.
Oh, nice. That'll be perfect then.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So oh dear. Well, isn't it fun to be thinking about various parts of the world? Yeah, I think it's one of the things I love to do, and that's one of the things that are being able to connect on the internet in the way that we do, and to be able to watch wonderful things on YouTube and Knowledge Network and whatever. We're getting to see and discover various parts of the world, and I think it's wonderful. It helps us all open our minds and understand where we live better, but also to understand other people who live in other places as well. I think it's really good. It helps us open our minds. Yeah. Now, speaking of opening our minds, Fred has given us a title: Dream, Learn, Do, Become. And this is, I'm guessing he's probably going to shift all this stuff a little bit for this audience, but because I think Agora, is it for, no, actually it's also adults, isn't it? It's not just youth. Correct. So this will be useful for all of us. And sometimes I hear people say, well, I'm not a leader. But you know what? We all have to practice leadership these days in this world that we're in. That's my take on it. So, Fred, over to you.
Thank you very much, LowellAnn. And I would greet all the attendees of AgoraCon 2021, in particular all the Agora speakers, international members. And I'll be greeting them from Canada. And the title of this workshop is Dream, Learn, Do, and Become. And these 4 words, dream, learn, do, and become, are from my favorite quote describing leadership. And the quote is, if your actions inspire others to dream more, learn more, do more, and become more, you are a leader. And this quote has been attributed to many people, such as John Quincy Adams and Dolly Parton and Simon Sinek. That's for Vivek. Now, the purpose of today's workshop is to review if we put those 4 words, dream, learn, do, and become into our leadership practices in Agora Speakers International, it'll assist us to meet our mission. And the mission statement at Agora Speakers is, Agora empowers you to become a brilliant communicator and a confident leader who will actively build a better world.
Mhm.
And if we're going to achieve this mission, we need to become the best leaders we can be and help our members to become those communicators and leaders who will build a better world. So let's think about this. If your actions inspire others to dream more and they visualize something they're currently not doing, but they would like to do, and then you inspire them to learn more about how to reach that dream or their goals, and then you encourage them to do more and try to reach that dream and persist. And because they have dreamt more, learned more, done more, and now they've become more, your leadership and our leadership will help others to improve and have an impact on the world, and we will improve our communities as well. And I know it brings great joy when we help others. When we help them to success, it can be very satisfying. I believe we get more satisfaction from helping others than many other things in life. I find it more joyful than having possessions like maybe that new iPhone or a new car or whatever. Helping others is important and makes us feel fulfilled in our lives. And in today's workshop, I want to review with you what I call creative leadership. I'll describe what I mean by creative leadership and then mention a couple of people that I believe have demonstrated creative leadership who you might want to learn more about. And then we'll have some time for you to make comments about your thoughts on this approach of creative leadership. And then I'll finish by describing a simple technique that everyone can use to start practicing creative leadership, even one-on-one. So first, what is creative leadership? Well, it's like being a painter. You know, you're painting on a canvas, a blank canvas. And when you give a painter a blank canvas, they might paint a landscape or a portrait, like the Mona Lisa. But when we're working with people, the canvas is different, as everyone is different. And a creative leader aspires to make others look good and do good and be the best they can be. It's about providing support so that others can be the best person they're capable of becoming. And when you clear the path for people around you, you'll also create a path for yourself. Your reputation will become as a person who people want to work with. And they will want to be on the same team as you. And that is what is meant when I state creative leadership. It is helping others to become the best person they can be. And also note, we're not in competition with anyone. We don't compete with anyone but ourselves. The goal is for us to be better than we were last year and improve each year so that we can reach our goals and mission. We want to keep others so that they can become the best they can be and help others. And I also believe that in Agora Speakers, we're not competing with any other organization. It's about looking at what we've done and review our goals and keep improving. So how does a leader assist others to become better? So how can they make them the best they can be? So let's look at a couple examples of people who've demonstrated creative leadership. And the first person I'd like to talk about is John Wooden. Now, John Wooden, as some of you may know, coached the UCLA or University of California, Los Angeles basketball team. That team won 10 National Collegiate Athletic Association championships in his last 12 years when John Wooden was a coach. He emphasized the importance of process over outcome. It wasn't about winning. His ultimate goal was a steady improvement for his team throughout the season. And when you see an opponent after a game, you should know who won it. It wasn't about being the winner. It was being about the best you can be, win or lose. He created and taught the pyramid of success. It consisted of 25 character values such as friendship, loyalty, cooperation, alertness, poise, confidence. And you may wonder, what has that got to do with basketball? Once again, it's not about winning. It was about encouraging everyone to be the best person, and not just the best basketball player, but the best all-round person they can be. Success comes from knowing that you did your best to become the best that you're capable of becoming. And John Wooden is an example of creative leadership, painting on the canvas of diverse people. And the world needs more people like John Wooden. And another example I'd like to share with you is Aaron Grunwald. Aaron Grunwald is a founder of the Freedom Writers Foundation. Aaron Grunwald started teaching in a high school in Long Beach, California in 1994. She was assigned to low-performing students who were labeled as unteachable, below average, and delinquents. And one of her students stated, on the first day of school, we had three things in common. We hated school, we hated our teacher, and we hated each other. Through a combination of writing journals, reading relevant books, guest speakers, making movies of their lives, and other approaches, the 150 students published the Freedom Writer's Diary in 1999, and it was subtitled, How a Teacher and 150 Students Used Writing to Change Themselves and the World Around Them. These students have gone on to create the Freedom Writers Foundation.
Wow.
It is a nonprofit organization created to inspire young, underprivileged students to pick up pens instead of guns. The organization's overall purpose is to create opportunities for students to reach their full academic potential and aspire to higher education, and also promote educational philosophy that values, upholds, and honors diversity, and inspires students to realize their roles as vital members of their communities. If you're interested in learning more about the Freedom Writers, there's a 2007 movie based on the book called Freedom Writers, and there's also a 2019 documentary, Freedom Writers, Stories from the Heart. Aaron Grunwald is another example of a person who has used creative leadership to make people the best they can be. The world needs more people like Aaron Grunwald. So before we go on to the third part of this practicing creative leadership, I want to ask you a few questions. And after all, this is a workshop. And I would ask you to type in any comments in the chat box, but address them to me, not to everyone. And I assume most of you know how to find the drop-down list and address it to me. And I'm going to ask a few questions, and please make some comments in the chat box, as I said. And the first question is, what do you think the effect would be on the world of creating skill sets of creative and empathetic leaders? So if we created these type of creative leaders that we gave examples like John Wooden, Aaron Grunwald, what do you think the impact would have? Any comments? And while I'm waiting to see if I have any comments, I would suggest that, the cumulative effect can be profound, because we can solve a lot of diverse problems with everyone. And we can develop reputations. LowellAnn said our world would be peaceful and our planet just might survive, for sure, especially with the climate changes that's going on. Thank you for that, LowellAnn. I find that very, very interesting. It might just survive, because we're looking at the fires and stuff that we've had recently and the way things are going with floods. We need some changes. And also, if there's any if we treat people with trust and respect, people want to feel valued and appreciated. And if we do this, trying to help them become better, they do appreciate that. I have another question for you, if you may want to make a comment on. What level does this work? Like, where do you think it should work best? The top management, middle management, or low management? What levels do you think? Because we often make managers and we don't train them very often. They get thrown into this. So
I would say all levels, whenever two people interact.
Exactly. And you can build a culture that everybody cares about everybody else, and they're and that they are successful in being the best they can be. Yeah.
And you know what? All it takes is one person to take a step in that direction and do something that helps somebody else, and first thing you know, it's catching. Other people begin to do the same thing.
Yeah. And this brings to mind something that Nelson Mandela came up with, saying that junior people speak first. He learned that from his father, who was a they would go around a circle, and the last person to speak would be the most senior person. Listen to everyone. Mm-hmm. So it works at all levels, for sure. And another question I have is, how does this benefit you if you help others to succeed? What do you think you get out of it? I mean, it can be very powerful strategy. I know of some people who've accomplished a lot. I mean, John Wooden and Aaron Grunwald are outstanding examples, but just by helping others be the best they can be can benefit you to become very successful and sought after. People will want to work with you because say, hey, they've helped me solve my problems, and they will help you solve their problems. It's a two-way street. Mm-hmm. And the last question I have is, what age groups does this work for best? Where do you think it helps?
Is anybody answering in chat?
I saw Vivek said, I would feel fulfilled when I help others becoming successful.
Oh, okay.
Thank you, Vivek, for that as well. And Javita said, Fred, the world would be a more beautiful cooperative. Thank you, Vivita, for that. And Dave has put the Freedom Writers Foundation in there, in the chat as well. Thank you for that as well. And Amazon is the Freedom Writers Diary. So thanks again, Dave.
Oh, it's in Amazon. Oh, wait, now I would like to know, I would like to watch the video. Is that in YouTube?
I'm not sure, but Freedom Writers, and you can check on the video. Okay. Watch that video. It absolutely blows your mind to see what she went through with those children and what they became. It was unbelievable. They wanted to kill each other, those children. They were gangs fighting with each other.
Wow.
Yes, Dave? The website does have the video in it.
Right on.
Okay.
Be able to go to the website, see it, or you can go to the YouTube channel.
Wonderful.
Right on.
because I think that's inspiring. Okay, so let's end off with, so far we've covered what is creative leadership. It's about helping others become the best they can be. And we've heard about the two practitioners that I mentioned, John Wooden and Aaron Grunwald. But since you're not a basketball coach or you're not a teacher like Aaron Grunwald, most likely you're not, how do you start? Well, here's the suggestions that I have. And you can start with one person. You don't have to have a big team, just the two of you. And there's a few things I'd like you to remember. This is one of them. Listen with humility. And by doing this, when you listen with humility, you might find that there's a better way to do things. When we start out, it's a great way to learn realities, such as maybe we're not nearly as good or as important as we think we are. Or we may have an attitude that needs to be readjusted if we listen with humility. And most of us, maybe some of the things we know might be out of date or even wrong if we listen with humility. So we
Isn't
learn
that the truth?
we learn that it reduces our ego and it's not all about us. And we look, you can find opportunities for someone other than yourself. And by attaching yourself to people and organizations that are already successful in moving forward, there's an old saying that I think is appropriate as well. Say little, but do much. And in addition, when you're listening and you're meeting, here's 3 words that I recommend that you think of: well, better, and best. And when you're talking to people, ask them these questions and listen with humility. What went well since we last spoke? How's things going working on those goals and missions? What could we have done better? What didn't go as well as we planned, but we want to work on and improve? And the third is, what's the best thing that happened? I want to share with you. We had a breakthrough or we did this. I'm excited about that's what happened since we last spoke. This can be one-on-one or it can be in a group. But asking those questions and ending on the best, everybody walks out saying, yeah, that was a good meeting. We discussed what went well, what we could do a bit better, but what was the best thing? And remember what Nelson Mandela said: the leader speaks last, and listen with humility. So in summary, meet regularly with others, ask about what went well, what could have gone better, what was the best thing that happened since we last met. So remember those 3 words: well, better, and best, and listen with humility. It's not about you, it's about helping others to become the best they can be. And maybe find and study some creative leaders like John Wooden and Aaron Grunwald. And as you practice creative leadership, and once your actions inspire others to dream more, learn more, and do more, and become more, you will be helping Agora Speakers International find those who will actively build a better world. And it will help make your life fulfilling. And you will aid Agora Speakers International to reach their mission, which is Agora empowers you to become a brilliant communicator and a confident leader who will actively build a better world. Back to you, LowellAnn.
What a wonderful mission statement. Absolutely wonderful. Well, now let's. Yes.
Couldn't unmute there for a second. Pressing the button and won't. Sorry.
That was really inspiring, Fred. Really, really inspiring. So, how about if we go around the table and just kind of let Fred know something that really struck a chord for you. Oh, he's speaking. We lost you, Fred.
Do a well, better, and best for me. What went well? What could I have done better? And what was the best?
That takes practice.
I was busy. I want to say I was paying attention, but I was too busy
Looking things up.
I was I thought your pauses were very good.
Mm-hmm.
You paused very well in the at different times when you needed to. It helped a lot. The if I was to be doing it, I would, instead of a handwritten card, I would print one out that used regular or had lettering.
Mm-hmm.
That's just my preference. That doesn't, I mean, it's not, it's okay, but I think you'd be better off finding, fonts that would work really well. And I like the optimism of the whole speech. You're bringing optimism, that we're going to be able to build future leaders that are going to be doing the right thing instead of and being positive instead of being negative. So that's my comments.
Fred, you started off saying that importance of process, but then you seem to have started to move towards emphasis on the goal or the result, which I felt was a slight inconsistency there. I believe in the process and not being too focused on the result. Yes, we do need results. We do need to put food on the table, etc., etc. But it's the process which keeps things going and keeps us healthy and happy and fulfilled. So, but I would have liked it better if you had put more emphasis on the process.
Alana, anything come up for you?
Well, I had to step away for a few minutes, but what came through for me was, and I don't have any critiques of Fred's performance. I thought, he conveyed his points quite well. But what came through for me was gratitude, because when you were talking about why would you help someone and that sort of thing, the thing that kind of popped up in my head was gratitude. And it's not that you're looking for gratitude, it's a sense of gratitude that you get when you help someone. It's kind of a secondary thing. I mean, most people don't help someone else because they're looking for a sense of gratitude. It just kind of happens organically. So that's what popped out for me. And I think if there was more gratitude in the world, there probably would be a much nicer place. I mean, and here's the thing too, it's a very cascading thing. Like personally, what happens to me is if I'm in a bad mood or something made me snap and I have to get into my car, normally I'm in trouble. But what I find happens is the minute I take control and say, okay, I'm going to let this person go in front of me. I'm going to let this person walk in front of my car. I'm going to yield to this. I'm going to yield to that. It instantly puts me in a better mood. Just the sheer fact that I'm able to do that gets me out of my bad mood. So thank you for that, Fred.
All right. So, Fred, I don't know that I can think of any. I know that this process is one that you teach in or speaking for giving feedback. Well, better, best. Um, so I'm having difficulty thinking of something for the middle part. Although I know it's part of your process. But I would like to share with you a couple of ahas that happened for me. First of all, I had the occasion of helping somebody who was in a great deal of pain this week. And her reaction to it all or whatever, I mean, she was grateful. But I ended up feeling grateful for having had the opportunity to do it. Because she tried a number of other sources and finally remembered our experiences from the past and came to me. And I felt really grateful about that. My goodness, she went to a psychiatrist and she went to this and she went to that. And her ending comment was, I knew this was the right way to go. And I went, wow. So I ended up feeling very grateful about that. And so that was one thing. But the other thing that also popped up is this well, better, best. I mean, that is speaking about process. That is giving us a process to use. And one of the things that I used to do in my coaching sessions was we would do what we were doing, and I would always leave 5 minutes at the end and ask what I considered to be a very open question. Okay, we're ready to kind of finish off now. What happened today? And my clients all learned that they had to, and from a coaching perspective, that was intended to help them sort of look at it all and to remember exactly what happened and what their own reaction was. And it was for many of my clients, especially the long-term ones, I didn't even need to ask what happened today. They knew and they felt inclined to kind of sort of review all of that. So the aha for me today was, well, especially if I'm starting with a new client, I might give them that as a guidance. What went well, what went better, what went or what could have been better, or what was best. But also using those three items in their notes to me for preparation for the next session. So this week, what went well, what could have been better, what was best. So that was a major upgrade for me to think about. I got a sense of how to improve a process that I was using to a good advantage. I think this is a major improvement. So I'm talking about process here. So, but what was the other thing? There was something else that jumped. Oh, I'm really interested to discover what that teacher, all the techniques that teacher used to help those students change their mindset. Because one of the things I know from my own experience and from my work is nothing changes until we can change our own mindset about something. So I think that watching that foundation piece would be very instructive. So So, yeah, I suppose I could say what could have been better is we could have stopped in the middle and watched that and then had a conversation about it. That's about all I can come up with, Fred, as an improvement.
Well, thank you very much, LowellAnn. Thanks everyone for your feedback. I can assure you, watching that movie is amazing. It's not, well, the movie has an actor or an actress, I don't remember her name, but a very well-known
Mm-hmm.
actress taking her part. But when they did the movie, they consulted with the students. They recreated her classroom as it was.
Uh-huh.
And the students
Mm-hmm.
actually were consultants to the movie. So it is really
Mm-hmm.
very, very true to life,
Mm-hmm.
even though it is done by a lot of actors and actresses. And to see what she went through
Mm-hmm.
and what she did is absolutely outstanding. So the movie is
Mm-hmm.
extremely visual, obviously, but pretty accurate to what
Mm-hmm.
actually happened. So it's quite remarkable movie to watch, I can assure you.
Mm. So, and your comment about listening with humility. One of the things I'm noticing on in the media here, I don't know if it's the same elsewhere, but this is what's going on here, is that we're hearing people who have not had a voice in the past, First Nations, Black people, people of color, etc., um, being given the opportunity to talk about their own experience and their own pain. And I think this is something we are learning from our First Nations people here, is that we have to make ourselves vulnerable and say, be able to say how we're feeling in order for other people to develop to be able to hear us and to develop the empathy that is needed so that we can all move on. So it's being it's a two-sided thing, isn't it? That we need to be listening with humility, but the person speaking or whatever needs to be willing to open that vulnerability and to say and share their emotions so that we can learn from them and learn to be empathetic. So I see that as a two-way thing. And I'm seeing it and hearing it a lot on the radio here. I don't know. Is anybody else in the UK or Ireland or the States? I mean, are you getting any of that through your various media, Alana? No, nobody's getting that through their local media. Isn't that interesting?
Well, that goes to say that CBC Radio, once again, I believe, is an excellent
Mm,
example of it's a very powerful tool. When COVID-19 came in, I said there was three things I'm happy that I'm in Canada about, and one of them is the CBC Radio, that
mm-hmm,
you could get accurate and people could ask questions and find out what's going on.
mm-hmm,
And I think you've just given another example of why CBC Radio is so
mm,
great in Canada. Yeah, so that's a good example.
mm.
I didn't have anything to say mainly because I have not been able to watch anything that is coming on the TV or last week has been really busy. So
Well, I can relate to that, Vivek. My last week was just hell on wheels. On one level, hell on wheels on one level, but really all kinds of optimism, all kinds of because we're doing a lot of work around planning this trip, and so we're just like ah. So there's that, but the extra hours of putting in at work and so forth. It's yeah. We and I have to say that that's one of the reasons that I use the radio. So if when I'm doing the dishes, or if I'm having dinner, or whatever when I'm not trying to listen or think about something else, I have the radio on. So, yeah.
Yeah, the radio is, I think, CBC radio. I don't watch television at all.
No, I
So
don't either.
the one thing I noted, Alana put in the movies Dangerous Minds with Michelle Pfeiffer. That's not the same movie. That's probably about
Okay.
something similar.
Okay.
The movie is Freedom Writers.
Oh, okay.
Freedom writers. Yeah. Okay.
Writers.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Not this. That might be about a similar topic, but no, the movie I'm referring to is Freedom Writers, and that's the one that really they recreated the classroom. They, what happened in that movie actually happened,
Mm-hmm.
and man, there was some things they wanted to kill each other. They were gangs, they were fighting with each other,
Wow.
and the way she turned them around was quite amazing. And what she went through, because the school just said, "What are you doing with those bunch of losers anyway? They'll never even graduate from high school. Why are you wasting your time?" She tried to get books for them to read, and they said, "They won't read the books. We won't give them any books. What do they need the books for? You're wasting your time and money." So she had to go get another job to get money to
So
buy
she could
books.
buy the books. Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, what an amazing lady. And
Mm-hmm.
she's still at it with the Freedom Writers Foundation.
Wow.
Fantastic story. But there's somebody who took people and made them the best they could
Mm-hmm.
become, if anybody, just
Mm-hmm.
by. And she said she learned a lot by listening to them. That's where she learned, from
Mm-hmm.
listening.
Well, I might say the last major project that I had when I worked for government was to implement what they called, and this is back in the 90s, team-based management is what they called it. And I got to join a team of other people in the region, and we as a team worked together and learned, opened ourselves and learned all kinds of new techniques, etc. And then we were expected to go into our various offices and teach them how to do this. And it was amazing, absolutely amazing, the transformation that happened in most places. There was the odd union person who would sort of react because this is moving the cheese, you know. But as time went on, they even sort of started to implement some of the techniques in their own situations, and so it was. And it was amazing, inviting people to give presentations in their own group, and watching how they all said, no, there's no way I would do that, and then somebody having the courage to step forward and do it, and then to see the support that the rest of the team would give them. It encouraged them to carry on and do and give it a try themselves, etc. It was, I mean, the transformation was unbelievable. I mean, you should have seen what happened every time there was a holiday or whatever. Somebody would jump forward and decorate the office and do all kinds of things and organize a party. And I mean, that was superfluous maybe to work, but it was not superfluous to the relationships. So I have personal experience of how everything that you said, Fred, works. You're still muted. Yeah, I love that mission statement.
Fred, you're still muted.
I know I was trying to, then it took over my screen and I couldn't find the other button. Anyway, I wanted to share that during the presentation, but it wasn't, the technology wasn't appropriate, wasn't playing games. But I thought I should share that at the end
Yeah.
and
Right.
just say, okay, with the people, you know. And that happens to have a picture of the mountains in the Himalayas, but that's the people who are sponsoring it are from Nepal. So that's a picture from Nepal
Right.
at
Cool.
the mountain.
Right on. Oh, so I must admit, you you activated a lot of memories for me. So thank you very much, Fred.
I think if we can practice what I call creative leadership, where you're trying to help other people be the best, it they bring you up as well.
They
So
do.
that it's amazing how far
Hmm.
you can go with that. And I think Dave has done some coaching in basketball, if I'm not mistaken. So you're
Hmm.
probably familiar with John Wooden's pyramid of success
No,
because
it was soccer.
oh, you were a soccer, okay. But I've been to a gymnasium in California where my granddaughters learn circus acts, and on the wall is an enormous view of that pyramid of success.
Uh,
So it's quite remarkable. And when you look at it, it's got doesn't have anything to do with basketball, but it's got all about being a the best person you can be, all the characteristics.
hmm.
You know, it blows your mind. John Wooden was an exceptional man, and it wasn't about competition as such.
Right.
He said, it was him who said, after a after a game, the players should talk to each other, and you shouldn't know which team won. That shouldn't be bragging or anything. It's just, hey,
Hmm.
you know, win or lose, you just be the best person. He was quite remarkable, man, and the fact that they've got a record that no other basketball team's ever been close to. 10 championships in the last 12 years. He was their coach. Just unbelievable. No other basketball team, you know, in the college
Hmm.
has ever got close to that.
Fred, on the radio, I heard one of the Olympic athletes quote exactly what you just said.
Yes,
He talked about how that process or that whole thing worked with his the team he's on right now.
cool.
It was
Well,
interesting.
there's no doubt about it. Aaron Grunwald and John Wooden and many other people, by helping others
Hmm.
to be the best they can be, it just brings everybody up.
Hmm.
Yep.
Well, and if there were some way that we could implement some of these principles online and the way people are sharing things in social media, that's 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 a huge challenge we have before us right now. How do we implement those principles into the whole technology social media world? Not not censorship. I mean, that seems to be the first thing everybody thinks of. Oh, just shut it down, shut this down, shut that down. Censorship doesn't change the way people think and the way they interact with one another. So I think that's a huge challenge we have before us right now.
Exactly.
Mm.
That's what I like about Agora speakers because they have critical thinking. They do also listen to other people. They've got a thing. It's called Today We Travel To, but it's not travel. It's I'm going to tell you about a community I've learned something about that often these people think negative about them. But
Mm-hmm.
let me tell you something positive about them that I've learned. They do
Mm-hmm.
this. And just,
Mm-hmm.
those are the sort of things they promote.
Mm-hmm.
Like the Romas or the Gypsies in Europe
Mm-hmm.
have got a very bad reputation. But when you go there and you learn some about their culture and things, you say there's some really positive aspects about them.
Mm-hmm.
Those are the sort of things that they do
Yeah.
in Agra, trying to get you creative thinking and also to be critical thinking as well.
Mm-hmm.
Don't believe everything you're told. Just try and find out the facts yourself.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why I think Agra, I really resonates with me. I'm
Mm-hmm.
so pleased that I found them. Or so.
All right. Well, look at the time. Oh my goodness. Well, we've been chit-chatting. Your presentation was the most appropriate length, Fred, and here we are chit-chatting away to fill the time. So,
I timed my presentation. It was 20 minutes, 51 seconds.
yeah.
I have 30 minutes
Oh, you do. Right on.
on the agenda. And if I can finish it in 20 minutes, 51 seconds, I'm happy because there may be some other
Hmm.
things, that
Yes.
come up.
Yes.
The fact that I spoke for 20 minutes and 51 seconds is fantastic to me. And if I end early, I rather early, I don't have to fill the time, as long as I
No.
get the message across.
Right. Absolutely. Well, thank you, Fred. I know that you wanted the practice of doing that presentation, but we sure benefited. We we got the benefit from that. We got more benefit than you did.
Well, I'm going to change my background, at the time of day, the sun won't be coming in, and
Right.
I'll
Right.
just have I've got a background I can put up.
Yeah.
But it's good practice to me,
Yeah.
and you won't see things in the background here. It'll just be a
Hmm.
blank background. So that's
Okay.
one thing I've learned. I don't know what else. I'm still looking for tips, but it's been a work in progress.
Hmm.
Sarah Davio, who who's been here, was very helpful as well. She came up with some. She was the one who suggested that I have some of these.
Oh yeah.
It was her suggestion that I use
Yeah.
that.
Well, and I was going to say, the fact that you're using a visual is helpful.
Hmm.
Because when you're hearing it and seeing it simultaneously like that, and the fact that it was, you didn't have to go change anything or do what everything, holding that card up, personally, I found that's effective.
Yeah,
Um,
I don't want to share screens. Sharing screens is not the same.
yeah, yeah.
There's a fellow in England who does exactly that. He has it on this.
Mm,
So I've watched him, and he's a very
mm-hmm,
good presenter, and he
mm-hmm.
does everything with these sort of
These
cards. So,
cards. But I wouldn't see anything wrong with creating a text, that maybe
no,
was colorful or whatever. That might make it, it would be worth a try to see what effect you get from it.
right.
But I did find it useful to see those little cards every once in a while.
But
Yeah.
That
one
was
thing,
yeah,
I would like to point out is that when you hold up the card, there is a change in the picture quality,
the
picture
lighting. Yeah,
lighting. That's mainly because of the overall lighting within your room.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
The light is not, there is not much light on your face as such,
right. Yeah, it
but
blocked it
there is lot of
compared to
light
where I put it.
around the room.
There's an example.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
Well, I was just going to. Well, it's too bad Alana had to leave, and I should be stopping, and we can carry on our conversation. So, basically, as a way to for us to end here, and it doesn't mean that we have to leave the conversation, but I just want to end the recording with my reminder that, and I discovered last night going back through some things. This reminder I have been using for 25 years. It's important to do what you love with passion. And next week, we're going to be talking about a simple approach to course development. Now, we've talked in the past about the technological aspects. Tomorrow, the next time, we're going to talk about putting together the content. When we talk about course development, more from the content idea rather than the technological content. So, having said that, I will do my Alt 4 So we can.